Welcome to the Block PC. I'm Dallas. This is my wonderful co-host Robin. The name of this week's episode, or the theme, is going to be kindness.
Kindness.
Being a good person. For me, kindness, I think, involves three main parts, right? Being kind to yourself, being kind to others, being kind to the environment and the world around you. I wanted to pull up a definition. This is from inspirekindness.com.
Nice.
Wow, I know.
.com.
So I asked, what's the definition of kindness? And it says, it's being selfless, caring, compassionate, and unconditionally kind.
Selfless,
Compassionate,
compassionate,
and caring.
and caring.
Yeah. So, we can dive right into it.
Yeah, let's do it.
How do you think you show or like to receive kindness?
First and foremost, I just want to say kindness is really important to me. So the way I show it and the way I receive it, I try to make sure I'm going about it the right way. I feel like it's not easy to do, but the way I show it is by like doing unto others as I want done unto me.
The golden rule, of course.
What about you? How do you feel?
I think for me, kindness goes hand in hand with like love languages, right?
Mhm.
And so for me, it's acts of service.
Okay.
You know, things that I can do for someone without them having to ask, or
Right.
vice versa. You know, when you come home and something's done for you, you're like, oh wow, that was
Right.
so nice for them to think about. You know, or it's just simple things throughout the day. If someone, you know, I let them into the lane on the highway and they waved at me, I'm like, wow. That
Oh,
was
that's
so
so
nice.
sweet.
And
That's so
that makes
sweet
me
of you.
feel so nice.
A lot of
Like,
people
you
wouldn't
know,
do that.
That's what I'm
Okay.
saying. So small acts, I think, throughout the day that build up to having a good positive outlook
Mhm.
is what kind of looks like for me.
Okay.
Compliments here and being nice to people there. Just whatever you can do throughout the day, you know?
I definitely feel like it's like that. I feel like a lot of people don't really think about kindness throughout their day, and I feel like the small gestures are like what matters most to people.
Mhm.
Like I can count on my hand so many times where I didn't know what I was gonna eat one day, or I didn't know how I was gonna get through the day. You know, like you got to make your lunch every day. And just someone giving me that apple, that orange, and I'm like, oh, they didn't have to do that. That was their apple. That was
Yeah.
their orange, or buying me lunch or something like
Mhm.
that. So I feel like easier said than done, but when people are kind and like show how they can be kind, I feel like that's
Yeah.
what matters the most.
I think it's like a avalanche kind of effect, right? Or
Mhm.
snowflake effect, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Where you do one small thing and then it leads to something else. Or it inspires someone else to do
Right.
something really kind, you know? And then all of a sudden you have this chain reaction of all these good things that happen. It could have
Yeah.
started with like a compliment. I really liked your shirt today.
Yeah. It makes
You
you,
know what I'm
want to be
saying?
kind.
It makes you want to go out there and do something nice. And kind of, I think that people forget, like, we have such blinders on, and it's such a like me first kind of society we live
Yeah.
in right now, where you forget that there's other people around you, and there's other people living 1,000 lives outside of what you see. You know, and you don't know what people are going through or not going through. And so I think, you know, it goes a long way.
I
Simple
definitely do
acts.
too. I feel like becoming a Christian and things like that, I feel like that's one of the things that has taught me to be kind, because I can't say
Mhm.
that I've always been kind.
Right.
Past life, I wouldn't really think about the next person. I wouldn't think about how they felt, but like I feel like on the journey of becoming a Christian, that's what's taught
Mhm.
me how to be kind, because you're surrounded by all these kind people and people who like to show love and like you know,
Yeah.
gratitude, and it just makes you want to give back in that moment and kind of live the life of kindness, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Without kindness, I don't feel like I have good days, to be honest. If
Yeah.
if I'm not like helping someone else's day out, or if I'm not moving in that way, then I'm like, oh, was my day really, you know, that great?
Yeah.
If I couldn't make an impact on this world, or I couldn't
Mhm.
give what's been given to me, which has been kindness.
Right.
So,
I think too, kindness helps remind me that there's a lot of good in the world. I think a lot of times stress of work,
Yeah.
life, money, whatever it is, can get you down. And I feel like you said, kind of without some of those things to get
Mhm.
me through the day or to help someone else get me through the day, it just makes it so much harder.
yeah.
And it's like, you got to remember that like everyone's has bills to pay
Right.
or is having struggles that they're going through. You know what I'm saying? My car breaks down there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They need something else over there.
Yeah.
We're both upset and sad.
I feel like, yeah, just having those people in your life that are there to support you
Yeah.
with their actions or like they're doing, that means a lot. And it could go a long way with how you're feeling on a day-to-day
Mhm.
basis, or challenges or things you may be facing. Like people may be going through stuff, and like just by that act of kindness that you have given them or like shown them, that could make their day 10 times better. It can make
Exactly.
them happier or put them in a better mood, and you won't even know it. And whether they voice it or not, like I can honestly say, like, there's been so many things that people have done for me, and I go home and I may not get to tell them thank you, but I really appreciated it in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt good to receive that kind of kindness, or, you know, just having that support.
I agree. I think with that, I've noticed, like, I've worked at like a dispensary before where you're like face to face, or like at a liquor store where you're face to face with people all day long, and I've noticed that, like, even if they're upset or having a rough day, I don't know what was going on before they walk in. But if you're really nice to them, if you're chopping it up, you're just talking with them, they reciprocate the energy you're putting out in there. You know what I'm saying? If they're really closed off and angry, and I'm just being nice. All of a sudden they're like, all right, well, we can chop. Like, you're really cool. They come in the next time. Now it's really good vibes. Now they're like, okay, cool. Like, it's almost something to look forward to. And I think that a lot of people just need that jump start. Yeah. You know? And throughout the day, you could be having the worst day of your life, and no one really cares about it. But all it takes is one person. You're like,
one person to change that.
That was really nice. This was a bad day, except for that part. And it's, like I said, it's not hard. I think we harp on when we are mean to people, or when we're, you know, not our best selves, and we focus on that so much that we forget that, like, it's very easy to switch that narrative. Yeah. It's very easy to go out and just be kind to somebody, hold the door open, compliment someone random. Yeah. Tell your family you love them, stuff like that.
I think one of the biggest, I know we just started this year, it's February, but I went to church on a Sunday, and it was that we were talking about how, like, you could do a lot with just the corners of your life, whether you think you have it or whether you think you don't have it. And I feel like that was so eye-opening to me, to where it started to click. Like, you don't have to have $1 million. You don't have to have the biggest bank account. You don't have to have, you know, all these luxurious things. Like, you could still be kind to people without, you know, materialistic things, or like money, cars, clothes, whatever people think, you know, like, oh, I don't have this, so I can't really give this to that person, or oh, I don't have that, so, or my life's not put together all the way, so I don't really feel the need to do for others. But I'm just like learning that in church, like, you could still be kind to people with just the corners of your life. Like, you don't have to have everything all put together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, so that was a good point that I learned about in January, which really opened my eyes to, like, I want to get out here and do more for my community. Like, I genuinely want to do that, because I'm just like, where I have a sandwich, or where I have a roof over my head, a lot of people don't have that. And I feel like that's a big part of being kind, like doing what you can with the things that you do have. Right. Yeah.
I think too that, like, for example, we have people like on the side of the highways who will like wash your windows or something like that. If I have a few dollars, I'm gonna send it that way. Yeah. Because I'm gonna buy a soda or something like that, or like some candy or something. But that $3 to me isn't very much, but to them, you know what I'm saying? Wow, that's the first $3 I've had in an hour. Like, that feels good. Okay, finally. Yeah. Something, and so something simple like that could change the whole trajectory of someone else's life. Yeah. You know, and it's like, wow. People sometimes are like, well, I don't want to give them money because they might do A, B, C, and G. That's not for you to decide. And I think like with homeless people. Yeah. I'm not homeless. I don't know how hard it is to be outside for real. So I'm not gonna really judge you on what you decide to spend the money on. Yeah. Like, but if this is able to help you, why shouldn't I? Almost.
I feel like you shouldn't really think about the money. I think you should let God handle that part of whatever they decide to do with the money. There's this girl on TikTok who recently, I don't know her name, but shout out to her. I don't know if you've seen the video where, like, she meets this man. She's just going to get her groceries, and then she winds up blessing him with a hotel. She buys him a phone. She raises money. She starts a GoFundMe just to help him out. And when I seen that, I'm like, man, like, we need more people like that in this world, who are just like willing to give and be kind. Because, like, well, that man didn't have those things a couple hours ago. Now he has all these things. Like, I feel like God works in amazing ways in that way. Like, where you didn't have it before, you'll meet people just by the kindness that you give, and they will provide for you and support for you, like, and care for you. I feel like that's what community is for. Like, that's what we're here for. Like, we don't get to live. Tomorrow's not promised to any of us. That's what I'm saying. So, like, if you could live your life being kind, I feel like that makes a better life. Yeah,
absolutely. It's like, would you want rather your last memory or something to be you being mean,
flicking somebody off?
Yeah,
like,
you know what I'm saying? Like, no, like, I know I put good things out into this world, so I think that, you know, I'm proud of myself for that. And you can be. I feel like you should be proud of yourself for being nice. Like, it's hard.
Like, if it was your last day on earth and, like, you didn't help anybody out, would you be happy about that? You know what I'm saying? Like, even with just the corners of your life, whether you were like, okay, I'm just gonna give this person $1. Like, I tried to be kind I try to take kindness up here.
Yeah.
Because I will say one thing about moving to Colorado, I've had people that have been super kind to me. Like,
Right.
the people that I've met and stuff like that. So why wouldn't I want to give that back? Versus past life, like I said, I didn't really focus on kindness too much because I didn't feel like anyone was really focused on me. I wasn't receiving it. But I don't even think it should be like that. Just because you're not receiving it, that doesn't mean that you can't go out and,
Right.
you know.
And it sometimes isn't instant gratification.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just because you give and they don't give it right back doesn't mean you're not about to get blessed tenfold in a week or two from now, you know?
Right.
The purpose isn't to get the gifts, it's to put good stuff out into the world. And eventually the world will give it back to you.
I don't think you should do it either in a sense of like, oh, well, if I do this for this person, then I just know I'm going to get it back. I don't think you should do it in that way either, because are you really doing it because it's coming from here? Or are you doing it to be seen or like whatever like that? Either way, I feel like you should just do it because it's coming out of the kindness of your heart, not because you're looking to receive or gain anything from it. Like, being kind, like I said, being kind goes a long way. So,
do you have any specific examples of a time someone showed you kindness that has stuck with you?
To be honest, I feel like people are kind to me every day. I try to take even the small things, because nothing in this life is free, of course, like that. But I feel like a story that I have would be like just my mom allowing me to. I'm 25. Just my mom allowing me to come to Colorado, get my life together, and get back on the right track. She didn't have to. When you turn 25, you know, you're halfway.
18,
you know,
out of there. Yeah.
18, you're out of there. So it's just like I really appreciate my mom in those moments because, like, she's taught me, like, me moving here and stuff, like, she's given me the opportunity to start my life over. And that is the most kindest gesture because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have parents that would just let them, you know, okay, get your life together, start over, and we'll work it out from here. So I feel like that's something that I'm extremely grateful for that I don't get to talk about that much, but her kindness has showed me how to be kind, basically. Yeah. What about you?
For me, if I'm gonna talk okay, I went to school, college, at in San Francisco. Yeah. And I didn't finish, but when I was kind of going around like the money problems and the mental health problems, like there was one teacher. Her name was Professor Shin. Shout out Professor Shin. My sociology teacher. And I had her before, but she was like, oh, you're not on my roster. And I was like, yeah, a bunch of stuff's going down. I'm trying to get it figured out. She was like, no problem. Yeah. You come to class. We'll figure that out after. Just make sure you show up here. She was like, you're one of my Tiger Cubs or something like that. She said something like that. And let me tell you, I was in that class 10 minutes early every time I had it. Because I just felt like so welcomed. Yeah. I felt so like empowered, and me and school really don't get along. Yeah. And so that class, I was ready to learn. I was ready, and it was like just a simple act of like, yeah, you can just sit in one of these seats. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it changed. It would make my whole day. But I would just be looking forward to that class. Yeah. I would be, and there were deans and like I had an advisor named Shar and Michael Bell. And these people like looked out for me. They did everything they could to help me in every way possible. And like I didn't take the right steps to stay there, but like every day I think about them and I hope they're doing good. And it's like they didn't really have to do this stuff. You know what I'm saying? I could have slid under the rock, whatever.
I got you.
Like everyone else, but I think just those simple things that like now I like couldn't ever not thank them for being so kind to me.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it doesn't even really, you know, I feel like kindness could take you such a long way whether you can see the outcome of it or not. Like you never know how that kindness is affecting that person's life in the long run. Right. So I feel like dang, that story was like, hey, okay, like like teachers have like I could really connect with that too, because there's been so many times and like I'm like, man, I don't really know how I'm gonna navigate through this. I don't really know how I'm gonna get through this. But that one person just helping me out and that one person just looking out for me, I'm like, okay, I can get through this. It won't be the end of the world, or I won't, even if I do struggle, I know that there's people out there that still see the good in me and that, they want me to succeed and, grow. So that's
it's a motivating factor. Yeah. It's like, well, I can't really let them down now for real. I gotta figure out a way where I can make them proud because they gave me the power to do this.
Yeah. And you never know what impact you're having on someone else's life. So like I said, even that $1 or whatever, even if they go spend it on something that you don't really want them to spend it on, like it could be, just helping them get to the next step. Like maybe I'll use that $1 for something else next time if I do see that person again.
Exactly.
So that's what's up.
I think it's important to point out also that we talk a lot about like being nice to others and how we can help the community, but one thing that's, at least for me, that's very hard is being kind to myself.
Oh yeah.
And like I think we are our own worst critics, and it's very easy for us to always remember the things we're doing wrong or not doing.
Right.
And it's like you're beating yourself up. It is probably feel very hard to be kind to others because you're being so harsh on yourself.
Right.
And there are a lot of moments I think we should take a step back and like look at what you've done. Look at you still being here. That in itself is something amazing and you deserve to be kind to yourself for that reason, you know.
One of my friends actually like brought that to my attention yesterday, because it's just like, it's so easy, as we always talk about, it's so easy to focus on the negative, but what about the things that you have done that you could be kind to yourself about, you know? Like oh, I'm not doing this, I feel like this, but it's just like, what about the things that you have done? And I feel like that's how the enemy loves to get into your mind, by making you think about things that you're like, well, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, or like, I don't love myself enough, or whatever. Like, but if you could just think of yourself in the kinder ways, if that's where kinder ways, you know, like, I feel like you feel better about yourself.
Right.
So
I think it's also small victories.
Yeah.
If you really can't find anything worth being nice to yourself about, like, because I've been there before.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I got out of bed today.
Yeah.
Win.
Yeah.
I used the bathroom today. Win. I finally got in that shower. Big win for everybody.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah,
I feel like people forget that, like, that stuff is,
that
you
stuff
know
matters
what I'm saying?
too.
Yeah. And like we take it for whatever because
Yeah.
we do it so much, but that could be something that just starts your ball rolling. Okay, I got in the shower. Nice. Let me make my bed. All right. Well, now I'm dressed. All right. Let me get outside. Boom.
Right.
It's a chain reaction that you got to work for.
I feel like self-love is the best love.
Facts.
And like learning to be kind to yourself, because once you learn to be kind to yourself, then you can go out and be kind to other people. You know, like, it doesn't feel like it's too much for you, because, you know, I love myself. Let me go give this love to other people.
Absolutely.
And show them, like, hey, you can still be kind to yourself too. I did go to a mental health class recently, and I realized, like, a lot of people, they do fall off of being kind to themselves.
Yeah.
And they're so focused on the negative and like what's not going right in their life, that it's like, one lady was like, well, how do I begin to love myself if I'm so focused on everybody else? And I'm like, take a moment, you know, take a moment to really just sit with yourself and understand what makes you happy, and how you can, like, you know, talk to yourself and what makes you feel great. Because, yeah, of course, if you're doing for everybody else around you, you're not really taking time to understand what's going to make you happy and stuff like that. So
these kind of go hand in hand. We're going to try and get a little controversial. Let's see what we can do. Do you think being kind is always the answer? / is there unhealthy kindness?
I'm going to say this. I am a Christian. So I feel like that's what God wants for us, to be kind, regardless if, you know, regardless if the next person is not being kind to you, because that's how you receive your blessings, by being kind to the next person. Even when people aren't good to you, like, you being kind to that person, like, it goes a long way. So where they may go hand in hand, I still feel like I believe being kind all around.
Right.
About you?
I think I agree. I agree with you. I think there is a difference between kindness and being stern, right? Like in other episodes or episodes to come where we talk about boundaries, right? And if someone is really not respecting your boundaries, there's a time that you can't be nice, I think, sometimes. That you really got to, like, hey, what do you do? Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't have to be mean about it per se, but I think there are times when people are taking your kindness for granted, or they're trying to use it against you, and it's like, no, sometimes you're gonna have to step up for yourself. But
even in those moments, though, you know what I'm saying, like, I still show grace. And
exactly
all a part of my journey, for sure, yes, but it's just like, I can't, even in those moments, I can't even be mad at that person, because it's just like, I don't know what you're going through, I don't know what you're facing, but guess what, I feel like I'm still going to be kind to you, I'm still going to be nice to you regardless. Like, and
that's, they'll probably match your energy. They're like, okay, man, maybe I'm being a little mean,
you know,
right
and
now.
then they might go home and self-reflect and be like, oh, dang, maybe I was tripping, or, you know, maybe I might not. So, like, yes, where they can go hand in hand, I just feel like I'm so into my religion that it's just like, God has taught me to just be kind overall. Like,
I love that.
So
I think for me, in terms of unhealthiness, right, there's something I live by a lot, and it's intent versus impact. Yeah. And a lot of times, I think people's intentions are good, but the impact it has is not what they expected, right? Yeah. So it's like, oh, I did this for you, and it's like, oh, thank you for doing that, but I don't really need that or want that. And it's like the thought and the gesture was very kind and very nice, but that might not be something I need right now, right? You know, and sometimes I think people get into, like, trying to guess what people want.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to do a lot to like win your friendship, win your love. And it's like, hey, I get that you're trying to do this out of the goodness of your heart, but it's having like a negative reaction from me. And so I think sometimes it's important to remember that, like, intent versus impact, right?
I feel like that just comes with like setting boundaries, which I hope we get to talk about a little bit more in the future for sure. But I feel like that definitely comes with like setting those expectations and setting those things with your friends and stuff like that.
I'm trying to think of examples. Okay, for example, I knew this friend, right? This is such a simple story, but it was like they had a gift card, right? And they gave it to someone else, like, oh, get some lunch from this gift card. And they said, cool. Then the person went and got lunch. Then they used the rest of the gift card to buy food for that person. The person was like, I appreciate that you got me food, but I'm not hungry. And now there's also nothing on this gift card left for me to do it another time.
For other things,
Like, you know what I'm saying? The intention was to help, and I appreciate that. But sometimes just talk, communication, or, you know, like, don't just assume all the time, I think is my thing. And that's the only time I see that being kind or just trying to do a whole bunch of stuff for everyone else can get unhealthy sometimes, which I think is important to point out. But there's always, I don't think there's ever a reason to really be blatantly mean to people.
Right.
Or blow up at people.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or like when people are like, oh, well, the truth hurts.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. You don't have to be mean about it. You know? I think people can also receive information like that a lot better when you're showing them kindness and like compassion and understanding, like, hey, this is tough to talk about, but it needs to be talked about. And I'd rather us talk about it and be uncomfortable than boundaries, me be angry, man. Boundaries. Be angry. The name of the game is boundaries.
And I feel like when it comes to kindness and stuff like that, like, it could be out of the kindness of your heart. And I get it. Some people might not want to receive it. Some people might not take your kindness the way you thought they would have taken it. But just still spreading love and still being positive all around. Absolutely. I feel like that's the end goal. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of how that person feels about it or if they didn't receive it right, like, just showing love in general, like, to the people around you, because that goes a long way.
I really do believe what you put out into this world is what it's going to give back
what
to you.
What you give is what you get. What you receive come back to you. So definitely believe that.
Man.
Yeah.
I just hope everyone goes out, does something kind for someone. One thing. Open a door for somebody.
Yeah. If not today, tomorrow. Shirt.
Yeah.
Next day.
And to yourself. Okay? Look at yourself and be like, you know, I'm proud of you.
You're smart, beautiful, kind. As we
all that.
Beautiful, kind. Being kind to yourself. Yeah. Saying kind things to yourself.
That's really important, honestly.
In the morning.
Like people do not do that. They like say it in their head, but if you say it out loud, like, it really does make a difference.
Look in the mirror. Tell yourself, like, I'm so beautiful. I'm so great. I'm so amazing. Like, and you may feel weird doing it. I'm not gonna lie, but the more you do it and the more you train your brain, like, with those thoughts, like, the more it becomes your reality.
Patience. It's gonna take time. I think that's what sucks the most is, like, I can't do this for a week or a month and just be a changed person. Like, it takes constant work.
It takes 30 days to create a habit. So imagine waking up in the morning and just, you're great, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you know?
Yep. And then what takes 3 months for it to become a lifestyle?
Yeah.
Something like that. So
sticking to it,
man.
Yeah.
Let's just put some good stuff out into this world.
Positive vibes, positive energy.
That's all I got.
That's all you got? Okay. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming back to the block. We appreciate all the love, support. Make sure y'all don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Once again, I am Robin. This is my wonderful co-host, Dallas. We want to give a shout out to our video editor, producer, Libby, behind the camera. Woo! And we just want to thank y'all so much for rocking out with us. Until next time.
See you.
Bye-bye.